Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to. We don't know what this is called yet, but we're going to figure it out as we go. My name is Pano.
PK, the Super Greek, checking in.
And Demetri, aka Juicy.
And this has been a long time coming. Not really. We literally played this like a week ago. But we're here. We're here. We're here to bring you some footy, but the Greek kind. And yeah, I mean, there's no better time to be talking about Greek football than now, in my personal opinion. It's been a long time. It's been a rough 10 years. Oof. It's been a rough 10 years. So there's no better time to be back talking about this than now. So that's why I've joined forces with Super Greek. I dragged Juicy along the way with me. Um, him, he's usually pretty busy, so I had to get him down here. But main thing that we want to talk about is high flying Jova Bonito. It is this iteration, 2024, Jovanovic's Greece. So how have we been feeling about Greece so far, boys?
Juicy, take it away, babe.
I think this Greek under Jovanovic has been something refreshing for us Greek fans. Just watching a Greece team that has struggled to put the ball in the back of the net. I think 4 games under Jovanovic has completely changed that narrative, and we've been flying. I think up top we've been dangerous every time we go down. We're always an attacking threat, and it's not like we have just a couple chances every game. I think we're creating a ton of chances every game. Do you see anything different, PK?
Yeah, definitely, especially from the last, 4 iterations or 3 iterations of the coaches that we've seen since basically John Van Schip took the job in 2019. And then through Poirier and then to now up until Jovanovic came, there was almost this desire to play more open, kind of deviate away from the old school style of, some people call it catenaccio, some people call it a bit more conservative or too just standard of a formation where defense is the priority. And when JVS and even Poirier tried to be a little bit more expansive, we were creating chances, but we weren't finishing them off. And we were not clinical in front of net. And there was this kind of agonizing, it's like you're right there. The hard work is done. The combination is there. And you're either like one pass away or one shot away. And all of that, the effort and all of that good play goes for nothing. And it's almost like we flipped an entire switch where we're back to almost the opposite, where, we may not be in a game like we're going to talk about the Ireland game in a little bit. But that first Ireland game where we won 2-0, Ireland had us in the back foot for the full first half. They had more of the chances. And next thing you know, 46th minute or right at the stroke of halftime, Ioannidis rips one from outside the box against the run of play, and we're off to the races, being able to kind of play with a goal up and have that confidence and free flowing. And just to be able to see the team take that next step as a collective with their growth, the mentality side of the game, the seasoning to be able to see a game out and also navigate the stresses of a tight game and still be able to find goals. It is really, really refreshing. So it's very welcomed for me, and I think a lot of fans for a long time now. So, Pan, I don't know what you've been seeing, but you're the coach's eye. What have you been liking, at least from your perspective?
It's funny actually that you mentioned that first Ireland game because Greece did not play particularly well that game. And you're absolutely right. I mean, hot finishing from Ioannidis, who after that obviously he got injured and now he's out where he's at now. But we played Ireland pretty even in terms of expected goals. It was a 0.8 to 0.5 game, not much there. They had 8 shots, we had 10 shots, no big chances. It was basically Ioannidis, taking Kelleher for a ride with that big left-footed finish. It's stuff like that, but like you said, there's a clinicality to this team that we haven't seen for a very long time. I feel like Greece teams of the past, there was that clinicality there, those 1-0 games, or you get the goal that you need and you shut up shop. But we're definitely seeing it's not just the goal scoring. I mean, the Ireland game again, like I just said, like they haven't played particularly well, but the other games, there's a swagger to Greece that I haven't seen before. There's a little bit of an arrogance. that I love in the way that they play. They look confident. They look like they go into matches. They know what they want to do. They know what they want to accomplish, and they're playing good football. That's the thing that that makes me happy. Like it's enjoyable. I mean, obviously we're gonna get into the England game, but that last Ireland game, that game could have been 5 in the first half if we're talking about um, two completely different matches from the first Ireland game to the second Ireland game, where obviously it wound up kind of being close towards the end, but stats wise, it wasn't even close. Like we're talking about Greece putting up 2 xg, and I think they put up most of it in the first half as well. Like it really was not, it was not a close affair. And even when it started getting like a little nervy towards the end, like the Mandalos goal finally just they put Ireland out of their misery. It was kind of funny to see Kelleher like completely just bomb that after he had an insane first half. But we're just creating chances. This is something that I haven't seen Greece do in as far as I can
Long
remember.
time. Yeah, long
As far as I can
time.
remember. I'm 27 years old. I don't think I've seen Greece play like this before. How about you, Juicy?
Same thing, just to touch on it. We haven't seen this in quite a while. And like you said, the second Ireland game was a completely like different game between Greece and Ireland. Obviously, the first game, as you mentioned, was like very 50-50. But Greece coming back at home to host Ireland, they dominated from the start. And I don't think any of us could name the last time Greece put up 20 shots in a game and just dominated in that sense.
Even against Finland, the 3-0, like they put up 1.5 xg. They had 9 shots. If Finland had some chances, but again, it was more of the same of just a dominant Greek game. The Finland game wasn't as good as that second Ireland game, but I mean, they're playing very well. Obviously, at the end of the day, they're first place right now. We haven't even gone into that, right? Greece is first place right now in their Nations League Group B. 4 wins, 9 goals for, 1 against, 12 points. Only in front of, England is 3 points behind, and I think that's a pretty good segue to the match so far of this Nations League. But I also feel like we can't talk about this match before speaking about what happened before the match. We do have to talk about this, of course. It's something that I genuinely, like, when I read it, I thought it was a joke. I thought I was being like trolled on Twitter when I read it. And that's obviously of the passing of George Baldock, which is terrible. Condolences to his family. I genuinely, that was a rough day. Like
It was. It's very surreal. I remember seeing it immediately on Twitter. It was like only 1 minute posted on, I think Fabrizio Romano tweeted it when I saw it. And, it was very sudden. It was also one of those things where you never want to play like the what ifs and whatnot, but the fact that, there was rumors about him getting recalled back up to the national team and he's not there for that international window. And then it's, oh, if only and whatnot. So it's difficult because, you could have thought maybe if it was a different international break and he's there, it might not happen, but it's a lost cause at this point. I think it's just very tragic, but I'm so proud of the way the federation responded, the way the players responded. They, even requested to not have that game played, and for them to power through on little to no sleep in a very tough environment against the European finalists from 3 months earlier. For them to be able to come out and show up the way they did for George, for the country and whatnot, it just goes to show, it's just that Greek juju. Like, you could be down and out, things can be dysfunctional, things can be hectic, death could be on the table. And we're such like ADHD merchants, the national team, where it's like the more conflict, the more like dire the situation is, like the better we play. Like, we're just adrenaline junkies like that. If you guys remember when JVS was the coach, with the other victory versus the highest ranked FIFA opponent we had since 2014 was the September 2021 game, I want to say, against Sweden, where we beat them at Oaka after the summer break. And it kept us really alive in that group for a chance at the 2022 World Cup. And so it was a combination of Mikis Theodorakis, the famous Greek composer who passed away the day before. And that morning, the morning of the match, Theodoris Zagorakis, the Euro 2004 captain, and at the time was the federation president, he also stepped down that day. So it was just a double whammy of chaos, and Greece came out. And I actually tweeted at the time, I was like, this is a perfect situation where Greece is to come out and ball. And they beat Sweden, a team that was really going to give us a challenge. And the way they just stepped up and put the difficulties to the side and just focused and rose to the occasion, it just shows that, like, you know, time is a flat circle and Greece is going to do Greece things. And the way they just stepped up when the chips were down was awesome. It makes up for all of the other failures and the embarrassments over the last 10 years and how we're just trending in the right direction as well. So, you know, more power to Jovanovic as well for righting the ship. I think he has a brilliant balance of the team right now. And while, you know, on paper, we may not be as talented individualistically as England is, he's really found this nirvana within the team. The balance of the midfield has been fantastic. The way we've been able to punish teams on the break, the way we've been able to break the deadlock, even when a team is really defending it well against, like, Ireland, for example, we have enough talent to, like, in a foot the Ioannidis where he could rip a shot and bail us out of a tough, sticky situation. So Jova has us winning in a variety of ways right now, and that's what good teams do. It's depending on the looks that you get, are you able to capitalize? And we've been doing that every match and every scenario so far under Jova. And Jova Bonito is here, and Jova Fever is here to stay for now, and hopefully we can keep it going and finish out this Nations League strong.
100%. I mean, the other thing that Jova's got going for him is that he's picking the best players. I've fought tooth and nail for some of the guys who are in the lineup now who I felt should have been playing and weren't playing under Poyet. I thought it was very clear from a long time that Zolis is a starting caliber player for the Ethniki. Same thing with Koulirakis. I mean, we're talking about two players who are, especially Koulirakis, who I think he's not just on the eyes of Greeks. He's on the radar of big clubs, a lot of big scouting guys who I follow on Twitter. Like, they keep their eye on him. I mean, he is your quintessential modern day ball playing center back. He's got a silky left foot. He can pick a pass. He can carry the ball if he wants to with power. He's got decent pace on him. Look, he's never going to be a prime Van Dijk, but he can glide with the ball, and he's a set piece threat. He's a set piece threat. He scores goals. Obviously he got the assist in the England game, and then we're going to get into that as well. But he is your modern day center back. There's a lot of talent in this Greek side and a lot of young talent. Same thing with Zolis, a powerful goal scoring winger. I'm so happy that he's showing his talent now at Bruges. I'm so happy that he went to the second Bundesliga for a year. He absolutely dominated, talking about I think he had 30 goals and assists or some crazy number like that, or maybe just under, in the second Bundesliga in all competitions as well. So the best players are playing, bottom line. And that's something that we unfortunately did not see under the previous regime. And there's a lot of talent coming through in this Greece team. We're not even talking about the guys who won the youth league with Olympiacos, like Mouzakitis, for instance, who actually just got called up, which I'm actually really happy about. You know, we haven't even gotten to those guys. We haven't gotten into guys like Zafiris, who, you know, has gotten good cameos here and there. We haven't gotten into guys who, you know, I'm trying every single Twitter post at a time, Garetsas, to choose Greece
just got called
over
up
Belgium.
to the U21 Belgium team. He was not featured originally, but they just snagged him. So I saw some doom and gloom online because of that news that broke today. I don't think it's done and dusted yet that he's choosing Belgium, but obviously we want to see him in the ranks. So
yeah, did he accept the call up?
He did.
He did accept the call up.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. I'm gonna leave all doors are still open on that front though. But there's still plenty of talent coming through that it won't be the end of the world, although he's a baller. He is a baller. But I mean, yeah, I think that really just brings us into this Greece England game. 2-1, beating them at Wembley with a full strength team, mind you. They're not going to be full strength this week, but they were full strength that game. They decided not to play a striker for some reason. I don't know why. But
Well, there wasn't Kane, so that's part of it.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
But aside from that, it was a full squad for sure, and that's not an excuse for the European finalists. So obviously, like, it's a caveat, but it's small. It was an awesome performance. Juicy, what did you make of it? What were some of your takeaways, at least from just the game flow, the game script, everything else?
I think like I mentioned, Greece was just on the front foot, having plenty of chances attacking. I think they had 1 or 2 goals called back too.
3 at least.
Yeah, I think something like that. So they put like 4 or 5 in the back of the net. A couple of them called back. And you just saw like the fight. They conceded, I think, late in that game. And then you thought like, okay, we'll take the draw. We'll take the point. And then we scored the very end, basically at the death. And it was something we haven't seen in like quite a long time. And it was something, like I said, refreshing and something new. It brought like back hope that we haven't experienced for quite some time.
Yeah, it flashes to Olympiacos beating Arsenal at the Etihad. Excuse me, not the Etihad. And at Arsenal Stadium at the Europa League, right before the world shut down, the El Arabi famous goal. Just one of those like pinch me, like where were you when moments where you know exactly kind of what was happening. Just a historic result. Obviously, the first win on English soil, the first win at Wembley, the first goal scored at Wembley to put us top of the group as well. The other thing that comes to mind is, obviously we'll get into this a little bit, but you know, a lot of the diaspora Greeks, me in that demographic as well, you know, haven't always had the smoothest relations with English fans, especially online. There's definitely been some back and forth about, you know, tensions and how England just kind of has the reputation of being a little bit, you know, can be condescending at times towards certain teams. But I do have to give England credit. They were a class act when it came to managing the Baldock situation. They were very congratulatory. Their analysis of the game afterwards was very fair. I think when there's a death involved, I think they start to kind of soften a little bit. But I'll give it to them credit where it's due. They were definitely very, you know, top of the line in terms of their ability to be hospitable to the situation and really give George a proper send-off and give Greece the respect they deserve. So I have to tip my cap there. I'll save my chirping for a little bit later on. But yeah, that England game was surreal. I'm happy that that sort of thing happened in Wembley and that they're coming home to Oaxaca in Athens for the second leg. So now that the target's on Greece's back, they at least have the home fans to support them. So that'll be great. But apparently it's a 70,000 sold out crowd, boys. So it should be a really, really hellish atmosphere tomorrow, I hope.
I hope it's rocking. I really do. And I don't think that they were even when's the last time they sold out Oaxaca for a Greece game? I don't even think they
So I tweeted it out actually. In 1993, it was the World Cup qualifiers for the 94 World Cup, also in the US. So serendipitous in that way as well.
Keep the good omens going, please. Let's keep that going.
So it's you know, everything's coming up Greece right now. Everything's looking like if we can wrap this group up tomorrow, even if with a gritty 0-0 draw, I would take that. But you know, we're gonna have a lot of home support and also the advantage of a ton of injuries. I think we can run through the list, but it's Saka, Foden is out, Stones is out.
We said
Rice,
Foden.
I think,
Palmer.
as well. Palmer and Rice. So they're going to, I mean, look, England's very deep, but I think there's definitely a lot of opportunities to exploit the fact that a lot of their stars aren't there. But yeah, have you boys been to a match at Oaxaca, by the way?
I have never been.
It's the one stadium I haven't been to yet for a match. I've been in it. I've done some track and field events in it, but I've never been to a match as a fan. So it's on my list.
He's flexing on us a little bit there, Juicy. He's I can't say I've played at Oaxaca on a field or anything like that. So damn, you got me that.
It was for training. It wasn't for an actual match.
That's still flexing.
Anyway, but
damn, I'll take a training session at Oaxaca. But no, I've never been. Cool. I've never been to a competitive Greece game before. I've never been. And yeah, no, I've never been to Oaxaca. I've actually only been to the Karaiskaki. Funny enough, even though I'm a Panatha fan, although everyone will say I'm a fake Panatha fan, but you know how it is.
I get called that too. It's fine. Yeah. No worries. All right, boys, what are we thinking about for tomorrow's game? It's, you think you have Greece figured out, and then next thing you know, they're beating England at Wembley. They're, looking like they're down and out versus Ireland, or at least back against the wall, and they pull one out there. It's almost like you expect the unexpected with this team, and they keep surprising you in the best ways. How are we feeling, Juicy, about tomorrow? What are your thoughts? Kind of, what are you expecting?
I'm feeling a little confident going into tomorrow. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but playing at home, having gotten the big result away at Wembley, you're going to be playing in front of a packed crowd, 70,000. I think it's going to be tough for England to beat Greece, especially with all the players that they're missing heading into tomorrow. But I do think that it's going to be a competitive game and both teams will find the back of the net. So I'm expecting a 1-1 draw, which will serve Greece well and keep them first place in the group. What about you, Pano?
I was literally going to say 1-1 draw. You just destroyed everything for me. No, but I think that what stands out to me is like looking at what this lineup is most likely going to be for the game. And you look at it like, I mean, I'm looking at like the FOTMob like predicted lineup, but like this is like a pretty good guess. And like you have guys like Noni Madueke playing in there. You have guys like Conor Gallagher, Lewis Hall, Mark Gurhey, Ezri Konsa, Rico Lewis, Angel Gomez they have starting in here as well. And then you obviously have Bellingham and Kane. It's a weaker team than what Greece faced in the first game at Wembley, but I feel like it's going to be a tougher matchup. I just no rhyme or reason. I think that this is going to be a tougher match. There's also, Kourbelis being out is a big miss for Greece because I really think that him and Siopis were the perfect little duo of big man, little man in the midfield where, Siopis is like, the Greek Conte where he doesn't stop running. It seems like he never runs out of energy. He's lightning quick, but he's small. And Kourbelis is just like that classic 6 destroyer who just, sweeps everything up, good in the tackle, good in the air. So
really good long ball as well. His over the top balls have been fantastic throughout the years as well. And he's been involved in a lot of buildup in terms of like that first critical pass to get things moving.
And it's a big miss, I think, for tomorrow.
Sure.
Or not tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow. Oh my gosh.
Tomorrow,
wow.
yeah. So I think it'll be much closer as well. I think what ultimately got Lee Carsley the sack, or at least the not getting the full-time England job, was the game against Greece, the first one in Wembley. And essentially what he did was he really tried to do like a total football system. And for certain phases of the game, it was working. I mean, they had us in the back foot. A couple Cole Palmer rips fizzed right over the crossbar in the first 10 minutes and whatnot. And they had Greece turning it a few points. But contrary to that, on the other side, Greece was able to get the ball high and wide as England got numbers forward, and they're a little bit out of position with this total football kind of scheme that Carsley was trying to do. And we were just able to punish them on the break, and I'll really have them uncomfortable on the back foot with Tsolis and Masouras really, dragging numbers out wide with the ball at their feet and then pinging it into a space almost as if there was like an overlap on the other, overload on the other side. So they really, really responded well as a team to what Lee Carsley was trying to do. They really suffocated the mid blocks so that England couldn't get anything forward, going at pace quickly with numbers and advantages that they wanted. It was a masterclass from Jovanovic. He kind of knew what Carsley was trying to do and really snuffed it out. And the team was able to respond and play fantastically. So I think England will be a little bit more conservative with their lineup tomorrow, like more of a typical 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, depending on the scenario within the match. But just from the formation and how they're going to choose to occupy space on the defensive end compared to the first match in Wembley, it'll be a little bit cagier. It'll be a little bit tighter, especially with England being on the road. They kind of know what to expect in a hostile environment, so they're going to play to that as well. But man, it's ours for the taking. This group and this game is ours for the taking. And from everything that I've read from what Jovanovic has been saying in the interviews leading up to this game, he he wants to be attacking still. He's not thinking about taking his foot off the gas at all. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these boys come out. I'm hoping their mentality can stay consistent and they're able to see this match through and see this group out. So I don't know if you boys have anything to add to that, or any expectations in terms of, danger men for England or anything like that as they fill in for a lot of injuries and stuff like that. But that will be interesting to see how Greece responds to this new lineup as well.
I'm thinking big matchup that I'm super curious to see for the match is going to be how Mavropanos and Koulirakis now deal with Harry Kane, as opposed to having, one of Palmer or sometimes interchanging with Foden. Like, while that free flowing is good for getting guys in between the lines and getting rotations, it obviously didn't work too well against Greece. So the natural thing now is, they'll probably have Kane up top. So I'm curious to see how the two towers do back there against Kane, who, although he's not your atypical, like big man, especially not nowadays, he's intelligent with his movement. He takes his chances. If you give him a chance, he will absolutely take it. So they went from being pretty comfortable, I would say, as a duo against England the first match. I think they're going to have more problems. They're going to have to have more answers this match. So I'm curious about that. And it's that midfield battle. That's going to be the big thing for me. I'm so curious to see who he puts in there. I've seen people say Zafiris, who I don't think should be playing as a pivot partner with Siopis. Zafiris isn't a big guy himself. So to have like two little guys, I don't know how I feel about that. And also Zafiris is more attacking. I've seen Mandalos being like touted to go there. And that's another one where for me, I know it sounds crazy. This kind of sounds like old school Greece, but I would put a center back in there just for balance. I would throw Hadzidiakos in there. I know it sounds crazy, but like, I don't like any of the ideas of whoever they have right now, except like Bouchalakis would make the most sense, I just if a player profile who we know, but like that's not an option either. So it's like just throw a center back in there. Why are we doing this? Mandalos in the pivot.
Juicy, what's your take on Mandalo?
As an Ike fan, I love him. He's the guy, and I think Pano's trashing him a little too hard. I think he'll be up for the task if he does get the nod for the game tomorrow. But Pano seems to want to play a little conservative and play with the center back in there next to Siopis. So
I think Mandalo gets a bad rap. Really I think his ability to cover ground when he works hard when the ball's not at his feet. Off the ball, his work rate is great. He can cover ground. He can run his socks off. His end product obviously has failed him from time to time, but at the same time, though, his decisive goal against Ireland, and his ability to really see that opportunity through and finish from a tight angle as well. He's able. I really like him in the mid-low block, where he can, one, cover ground, two, make the intelligent pass in the right time, in the right place to kind of get an attack going. He can see the attack happening before it happens, and his pass is very anticipatory to start an attacking movement. So I like his vision and his ability to kind of get things going in transition. And he's been a stalwart in that particular aspect for many years. I mean, there's a reason why, even going back to the Skib days, he was playing Madalos. If you remember that famous 1-1 draw against Belgium on Greek Independence Day in Brussels, it was Madalos playing on the right midfield alongside a midfield four with Panagiotis Taxidis and a couple other guys. I think Yannis Maniatis was still in there at the time. So he's been in and around the block. He's played Champions League football. He has enough of an IQ to cover up for maybe the lack of quality in the final third. But I think Jovanovic will definitely opt for him tomorrow. His ability to be a leader. He's obviously had a lot of experience, and he's showed up for Greece a lot too. So I think he gets a bad rap. I understand his end product, and he'll have his moments where it looks like he just like spits the ball away or has a moment of weakness. But overall, I think he's very reliable, and more importantly, just a reflection of the lack of depth Greece has in midfield. So you kind of have to make do with what you got. And he definitely has been a worthy soldier to fill that role when we've needed him to, 9 times out of 10. So I'm okay with him. I think Bouchalakis is even more like of a conservative decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in for like the final 10 to 15 minutes, say for like a 1-1 or 0-0 scenario, and we need to just close the match out. But it's looking like Madalos, who's also the most like parallel type player to Courbelis, who's going to be out, will probably get the shout, and I'm okay with it. It's not my first choice. I would rather have Courbelis if we could, alongside the rest of the balanced midfield. But I think he'll fare all right tomorrow.
We'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Love that.
That's what I'm gonna go for. But I will be sweating nonetheless throughout the entire thing. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, do we have any closing thoughts on this game? I mean, lads, Greece wins this game. They essentially clinch Nations League
They do
B,
clinch
their group, if they win. What?
They do clinch if they win.
A win, they clinch. A tie,
they got to beat Finland, right?
I think with the tie, it's still very much in our favor, but it's not like 100%. But it's like a formality at that point, so long as they get a result versus Finland.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I'm
League A.
Yeah.
Could you have imagined saying that a year and a half ago?
Absolutely not. But the idea of playing a Nations League A, getting a second life at a chance at the World Cup in 2026, which is going to be in the US as well, which is fantastic for us Greek Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, hey, it's another chance at European silverware, which, for a lot of Greek fans, we thought, okay, 2004 happened. It is what it is. And we'll just kind of like tuck that in the back pocket and save it for a rainy day because it's never going to happen again. But this idea of the Nations League, when it came about, it really opened up the doors for, a team like Greece that can punch up on their day to be able to dream about, having a chance at another piece of silverware, which would be fantastic to see if we can pull something like that off. Obviously, the luck of the draw in terms of the group would have to go our way. But when you're beating in England and Wembley like we just did last month, I think you start to open that next door of possibilities and think, could they be up for it if everything falls into place and, Jovanovic is able to kind of reload once some players start to age out and whatnot. So
why not us?
Why not us? Why not us? So I won't get my head too stuck in the clouds. Well, I'll focus on tomorrow, make sure we get the job done. And by job done, a win or a draw for sure. But man, it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to be a historic night for Greek fandom. I mean, if you guys remember, 3-4 years ago, we were at Oaxaca and there was like under 5,000 people in the stadium for some of the games. I think averaging for that campaign in when JVS first took over was once they started letting fans back in the stadium, because it was the COVID years. It was minimal 7,500, 5,000. It was you could hear a pin drop in the crowd. And now, fast forward, we're looking at 70,000. A stadium that hosted the 2007 Champions League final. For an atmosphere like that, an opponent like that to be coming in, it shows just we're trending in the right direction. And I can't wait for tomorrow, and I want to see our boys close it out.
100%. And hopefully we get there. Hopefully I get to go to a game soon too. That'll be next. But let them not break my heart this international window, and then we'll take it from there.
100%. In the same light, I have been to a few games, not to brag again, humble brag. I have been to a few competitive matches in real life, and in just more to shout out George Baldock and kind of let folks who don't know him as well know how much of a special player and person he was. I had the opportunity to go to the Greece versus France match in the Euro qualifiers in summer 2023. And traveling with the UA Greek fans, the famous guy that does the trumpet and Nikos Flekas and all the Galano Lefkos Faros, the super fans. 80,000 people at the Stade de France. It was a game where Greece played their socks off and really deserved. France had a lot of chances. So in terms of deserved, it was one of those ones where Greece, in terms of from a minnows perspective or the underdogs perspective, was definitely punching above their weight to try and get a result away. But the way George Baldock played for 90 minutes, where he back-pocketed Mbappe, he really shut down that whole left flank as a right back, and he made Mbappe's life miserable for a full 75 minutes until he got taken out. And the way he was just running up and down the pitch, nagging him, sticking a foot in his path where the ball was going to be dribbled to, frustrating him the whole night, fearless, not letting the atmosphere of the moment get in his head. And to find out that he did that performance when the media confirmed that the next day he did that on a fractured ankle just shows the type of player Baldock is. He is just a mentality monster, really was a selfless player that put his body on the line for the team. He was, even though he was 1/4 Greek and grew up in England, he was so proud to play for the Greece team and to honor his Papu's homeland. And the team took him in as well, and they saw that sort of mentality that he brought to the table. And he's just a special, special player, and he'll be sorely missed. But I think the team and the federation has grown stronger from this, and I think it'll be kind of like a come to Jesus moment where the team can start to really realize how far they've come, and hopefully they bring it into the home stretch here for the Nations League and then onward to the qualifiers. But George will be missed, and I think they're going to play in his honor again tomorrow.
And honestly, I hope not just for the players is a little bit different, but also just for the EPO. I think like this is like a time where it's like we need to 100% push completely above our weight. No cutting corners. You know, the EPO has really, you know,
it would be a whole other podcast.
Nice word for me to say what they
it would
are.
be a whole other podcast.
has encapsulated EPO for so long, and I feel like this is a kind of a sliding doors moment. And I think we were trending there before this disastrous news, but this is the kind of thing like, don't screw this up now. Like this, we can unite the fans, get them back in the stadiums. Look, we were having conversations about Volos being the official stadium for the Greek national team not too long ago. So like, unite the fans, unite the players, unite the hierarchy. Like this is a terrible excuse to do so. And this is not something that anyone hopes for, but I hope that they use this in a positive light, and we only go up from here. So we'll see. What do you think?
Yeah, Juicy, tell us what you think.
I think it was beautifully said by the both of you, beautifully covered.
PK said it better, but yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, stop you too much. But I will say, Makis Gagatsis, the son of the EPO Federation president, who obviously during 2004, it was President Gagatsis Sr. that was the Federation president. So it's uncanny almost that, you know, once the son takes over, you know, things are starting to look on the up and up. Something in the water in that family. I don't know what it is, but Makis has been doing a great job, and to have a little bit of stability and functionality after, you know, a decade of dysfunction almost is really refreshing. So I think, like you were saying, Pan, it's on the up and up, and it was a matter of time, and maybe the Baldock situation accelerated that a little bit. Sometimes you need a little fire into the ass as a Greek fan and a Greek team, but you know, it's trending in the right direction. And I think so long as, you know, Jova's at the wheel, we're going to be in good hands, or at least have a puncher's chance. So.
And as long as AEK players are starting at a right back and DM, right? You see?
Correct.
Boys, we have some betting lines as well.
We do. The expert on this is Juicy, so I'm gonna let him start it off, because, you know, here in this episode we're also going to be trying to help you make some money as well.
So I have one line that caught my eye off the bat. I did a little research to confirm my pick, and the research that I did kind of backs up my pick. So my pick is tomorrow in the Greece game, -105. Both teams to score. Greece has scored at least 2 goals in the 4 games of the group stage, and England has scored in every game of their Nations League campaign. And I may also add that England is the only team to break down Greece and put one in the back of the net. So I think England having to go for a win here, and Greece playing in front of the home crowd, I think we're going to have a ton of chances, a good amount of chances, and we'll see both teams put at least one in the back of the net, -105.
Okay.
Bond, let it rip. What you got for us?
All right. So, because I am thoroughly enjoying the Zolis remontada that we have going on right now, that's going to be the theme for my pick. So, you know, I think in the little bits that we spoke, and Juicy knows I'm a big stats guy. And one thing that sticks out to me about Zolis this season is that he's taking almost 4 shots a game, which is a pretty healthy amount for a winger. That puts him in the 97th percentile for shots total, like per game, in Europe's top 5, or not Europe's top 5 leagues, in Europe in general. So that's no small feat. And obviously, it's kind of been a slow kind of transition for Zolis into the national team under Jova, but it seems like now he's cemented his place. First game against England, he gets to start, gets 0 shots. Second game against Ireland, albeit an easier opposition, he got 2 shots. So for me, a guy who's putting up almost 4 shots a game for his club seems to be trending in the right direction with more minutes in the national team. I think a no-brainer is Zolis to get 1 or more shots on target for the match. It's plus 100. So that's a good pick for me, because I think as long as Greece plays on the front foot like they have been, I think he's gonna get at least 1.
Love that. So I have 2. I just added one on the top of my head just now. It's not particularly aligned, but for whether you're using Stichiman, Bet365, or DraftKings, or FanDuel, whatever you are using in the States, something to keep in mind from a stats perspective in light of what Ban was saying. For interceptions per 90 minutes in League B, of all the 16 teams there, Kostas Tsimikas is second only to Turkey's El Mali for interceptions per 90 minutes with 3. So any chance you get to bet on a Greek defender, especially Tsimikas, to be able to have more than 2 interceptions per 90 minutes, or over 2 interceptions for the match, I would go for it, because one, he's a Premier League player. He knows how to read the game, especially the English game, very, very well. And he's going to be very, very busy on that left side a lot of the night, especially as England's chasing points and chasing the game as well. So anything with Tsimikas, definitely hit it, especially if the line is favorable as well, whatever book you're using. But I have a match outside of the Greece game that I have a line for that I pre-prepared.
Okay.
So it's actually Austria versus Kazakhstan. And I think a lot of us, I think, Ban, you were saying before the chat that you're somewhat of an England fan as well. So we'll have to potentially touch upon that before this conversation ends. But like a lot of fans, you have players that you like that are not part of your national team. And for whatever reason, for the longest time, maybe it's the longevity, maybe it's anything else, from Austria, Marko Arnautovic, I just have loved just his... There's a certain swagger, a certain kind of pluckiness about him. He just never dies like a cockroach. He's not the most talented player in the pitch, but he's very intelligent. He's a great arriver into the box, and he's been banging in goals for Austria since Ralf Rangnick has taken over. And it's been great to see his national team career kind of get some new life with Rangnick there, and lasting the test of time and being fit enough as a 35-year-old to be able to be as productive as he's been. So on top of that, from a personality standpoint, I think Jose Mourinho, I was listening to an interview a while back where he was saying that Arnautovic is one of the most cocky, overconfident players, but in the best way possible that he's ever played. And you kind of want that mentality from your striker. So for me, I love just the just panache and swagger of Arnautovic. So against Kazakhstan, I have him plus 100 anytime scorer, Marko Arnautovic. I think that's ripe for the taking. I think Kazakhstan, you saw how Greece did in the playoffs against them, banging 5 past them. I think a player of Arnautovic's quality and the game script that Ralf Rangnick's going to have is going to be ripe for Arnautovic to get on the score sheet and add to his ego and scoreline. So that is my prediction, my betting line: Marko Arnautovic versus Kazakhstan plus 100 anytime score.
Slightly Greece related, they're playing Kazakhstan.
Slightly. And also, if you go on YouTube, there's that famous training ground fight between him and Socrates when they were both at Borussia Dortmund. So that's always fun as well. I'm obviously on Socrates' side, but for all intents and purposes right now, pro Arnautovic.
Hey, I take Socrates at DM right now over Mandalos.
Fair enough.
But
well, boys, I don't know if there's anything else.
I think that just about wraps us up. I mean, we gave you We gave you everything that's been going on with this team. We gave you our predictions for the match. We gave you our picks. We're trying to make you money here too. So you're getting triple whammied here. Again, I can't reiterate enough. There's no better time to be speaking about Greek footy than now. There, in my opinion, has not been a generation as talented as this group. I don't care what anyone says. Even that group in 2014, some of those young players, they were not playing at the clubs. They were not being scouted by the clubs, and they weren't playing at the level that these guys are now. So this is, in my opinion, the best generation of Greek players since at least for the last 15, 20 years. So that's this is a really good time to be a fan of Greece. So this is a really good time to be talking about them.
For sure.
So yeah.
And boys, thanks for having me on. I know you guys do some great work with the Line Breaker. Always happy to pop on for international break and get amongst it Greek style. So
yeah, on that note, or Juicy, you were about to say something?
We're happy to have you, PK.
You can't see my peace sign because my background photo, but I threw up a peace sign. Love that. And yeah, good chat, boys. And, good luck to Greece tomorrow. I think we'll be in for an awesome, awesome match. So
cheers. We're out of here.